For this last video about classes, I am going to start by adding a few other span tags. So let's see. I might say that I might highlight a bunch of text here that I want to highlight, say. And so now I have some spans that are vocabulary words, and I have some spans that are like a highlight. Let's see, things that I just want you to notice. When I do that, now I realize that I'm starting to pollute with my original idea of what the span was for with some other unrelated styling. It would be nice to be able to separate these kinds of spans from these kinds of spans. Let's do that with class. Span and class often go together. So I might say for all these ones, these are really, they're vocabulary. So I might say vocab. The word that you choose here is not important. Just keep it consistent, because these are all going to be the same grouping. And I think I have a few down here. And class equals vocab. Okay, now these other things that I had created spans for are really more like a highlight. So I might say something like class equals highlight. And where's my other one? Right there. Now I have two different kinds of spans to deal with down here, so I can make my rule a little more specific. Here's a span, but I'm going to say, well, take a span, yes, let's say only spans with the class of vocab. So now I'm not doing anything special with the highlights anymore, just the vocab again. Perfect. Let's say font style italic. Now I have some spans doing this that are highlights and some doing this that are vocab. Now there's something that I did here which is different than what I did up here, was I actually left the tag name in there. Now why would I do that? In this case it doesn't matter yet, because the only things that have a class of vocab on them are span tags, and the only things that have a class of highlight on them are span tags. So it doesn't really add any more information for me to put the word span here. But say I had something like this going on, where I have vocabulary in all kinds of different places. So maybe say I have vocabulary here, H2 class equals vocab, because these are also vocabulary words. And now I refresh and I realize that, oh, nothing special is happening to these, because they're classes of vocab, but they're H2s. But say anything that's vocabulary, I want to underline, no matter if it's a span or an H2. So I might say everything that's .vocab gets an underline. Now I have a general rule for anything with a class of vocab on it, and then a more specific rule for a span tag that has a class of vocab on it. Let's see this in action. Aha! Now all of these have underlines because they're all vocabulary, but some different things are going on depending on whether they are also specifically a span tag. So this is the beauty of the cascading style sheet, is I can, just the same way that I made a more generic rule up top for something like that hit a section, and then I can start specializing down here with some smaller specific rules. So this one is a more general rule here, and then I'm giving some more specific rules underneath it. And I can do that with a lot of control in this selector. So I encourage you to practice the selector examples on Khan Academy to get really good at these. It's such a powerful language. We're about to wrap up here with with a Bob Ross practice example.